came as no surprise to me that Cricket Australia decided to reconfirm the 12-month ban on Smith, Warner and Bancroft. And it came as no surprise to me that the Australian Cricketers Association asked for that ban to be reviewed, because each of them had to do what they needed to do. The Cricketers Association had to demand that the ban had to be revoked once the Longstaff review made it very clear that there was this arrogance that it talked about seeped all through. And so the Cricketers Association said, you know what, it's not just the players that are at fault, it's the entire organization that set the scene almost for the player behavior. No, it was a weak argument. It's like saying, you know, I know you stole a bank, but don't charge me the entire offense because my parents were like that when I was growing up. You can say anything you want about the air that was prevalent in the organization, as a review then conveyed, but if you've committed a crime, then you have to pay the sentence of the crime. Now, it's important to note though that as per the ICC's law, the punishment was only for one game. That's what Faf du Plessis got, that's what the others got for ball tampering. The 1 year was because people in Australia were outraged. For years, the Australian public, and the Australian public is very outspoken and is pretty much a reflection of how sport is played in Australia. For years, they had been told that our boys play hard and our boys play fair. And all of a sudden, they were being told, you know what, not only did our boys not play fair, but they planned this beforehand. Now, the Australian captain is a big part of Australian society. A couple of times, the Australian captain has won the Australian of the Year award. So to be told that two senior members of the Australian side had actually conspired to cheat was far too much for the fans to take. And so the punishment was not what the ICC said, but what it meant to Australian society. But the moment Cricket Australia took that into consideration and said, this is the reason we are enforcing a 1-year ban, then any reduction in the ban would have made them look a lot softer. Would have been seen as saying, you know what, these Indians are tough players, you know what, we need to prepare for the World Cup a little better, so let's use the circumstances to reduce the ban. But the truth was that the circumstances were never the reason for the ban. It was what these people had been seen to be doing, what Smith and Warner and Bancroft had to be seen to be doing. So the ACA took a chance, but Cricket Australia, and there's a little rift between the Cricket Association and Cricket Australia going right back to the time of the contract negotiation, but the ACA had to do that, and Cricket Australia, there was never ever going to be any doubt at all that the ban would have continued. Now, what does that mean in the immediate context? It means Australian cricket team was struggling to put together a couple of batsmen in the top 6. Will now have to do without Smith and Warner and Bancroft all the way. So till the 29th of December for Bancroft and till the 29th of March for Smith and Warner. Now, the World Cup starts towards the end of May. So how much time do these people have? That's where the IPL becomes critical. It was believed that Smith and Warner would then come, play those 10 or 12 games or 8 or 10 games, get into tough competitive cricket and use that as a preparation for the World Cup. Now Cricket Australia have said, no, Cricket Australia comes first. There might be a series against Pakistan in the Gulf. Now, a series against Pakistan in the Gulf in April. I'm not sure how much is going to prepare Australia for the World Cup, but it means that Smith and Warner will maybe play a little bit of one-day cricket, a little bit of T20. I'm not sure how good the preparation is, but a lot of Australian players are going to forego some very big IPL money. And there's a lot of rumbles in Australian cricket already about Cricket Australia now seeking to having to compensate the players for losing out on the IPL money. The reason I'm bringing all this up is to tell you that there is turmoil in the Australian cricket system. And it's the best time, if ever there was a good time, for India to exploit that. I don't think Australia will go into the World Cup as big a force, but if India in those 3 one-days after the test matches can inflict a firm defeat, then the rest of the world will say thank you to India.